Hello guys and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking through setting up the Asus Rt-Merlin alongside the Plusnet broadband on a AX88U router. As you're aware, that anyone that's already purchased or is looking into one of these routers, that they're far superior to what's provided by the ISP. The feature set provided by the Asus Rt-Merlin firmware also enhances on that, so it gets you the best features for your network. So the first thing that we should go through is roughly what the setup's going to look like. So the original setup would be an ISP, a modem, and then off the modem come your network devices. What we're doing is we are setting up the ISP, the modem in bridging mode, going into a WAN Ethernet connected to the Asus router, which provides all the routing, the firewall, the Wi-Fi, etc. The modem at this point is now just a box that sits there as a modem only, and then off of that would be the rest of your internal LAN, your Wi-Fi, your guest Wi-Fi, etc. If you wanted to set up VPNs to encrypt all your traffic from going out across the internet, you could do it at this point. There's also additional features that you can set up with many other guides out there on the internet to set up things like a containerized Plex server or on your router. And the more common one is a NAS, so you can just plug a hard drive into the back of it and use it as shared storage. So the first thing that we would do is we would need to connect to the Plusnet hub. What you need to do is open up your browser and connect to 192.168.1.254. This will bring up the hub manager. You then just need to log in to the device. If you don't know the password, I believe it will be on the bottom of the device itself. If not, you should be able to find that on Google. If you go to Home Advanced Settings Broadband, it'll bring up this page. It will show your username. This is the most important thing. So the password will also be required, but you'll need to note down the username and the password. The password will be available via. You'll be able to get this if you don't know it off the top of your head by logging into the Plusnet account via their webpage, because this will be the same password, and that's the easiest way of knowing what this password is. Remember this page because we'll be coming back to this. Before we enable the bridge mode, we need to set up the router and update the firmware, because we will lose internet connectivity as soon as we put the modem into bridge mode without a working router. So you can go to the Asus Rt-Merlin website, which is www.asuswrt-merlin.net. Go to downloads, main mirror site, and here we have all of the various devices supported via this firmware. So what we're looking for is the AX88U in this case, but this guide will apply for other routers, of course, which are in this list. Releases, and then we just download this zip file. Once we download the zip file, we need to connect the Asus router, connect to the web UI. This is usually router.asus.com. Go to firmware upgrade and then update the firmware. This is already the Asus WRT firmware, so I don't want to downgrade it because I'll lose all of my my settings at this point. So you would just download the you would just upload the firmware over the original firmware, and then once it reboots, you'll be presented with the new firmware page layout, and it's most likely going to bring you to this screen. Next step will be to connect the modem into bridging mode. So make sure that the modem's plugged into the ISP and it's powered on. Go back to the UI, back into the advanced settings broadband, and then we need to enable this bridging mode here. Be warned, once you enable this, it's going to make the router no longer accessible, and your broadband will go down once enabled, because we then are left with the modem in bridge mode and no WAN traffic being responded to by the router at this point. So be aware of this at this point. So make sure you're ready to set up. Once we've enabled the bridging mode, if we need to get back to the original settings, there's a hard factory reset button on the back of the router which will recover your router, and then you just go through the recovery process. So the next stage is to enable the WAN. So we plug the first port of the modem into the back of the router into the WAN port. So the modem is now connected to the WAN port. We then proceed to connect to the router. So your PC is now plugged into the new Asus router that's running the Rt-Merlin firmware. We go to router.asus.com or the default of 192.168.50.1, and then we click on advanced settings, choose an operating mode, make sure it's in wireless router mode, which is the default. We are setting the internet connection type as PPPoE. You need to put in your username from the ISP at plus.net. So remember the plus.net, it's not your email address. And then the password, which was the password taken from your manager. Clicking on next will allow you to set up your Wi-Fi settings, and then clicking on apply. Once your screen is finished, it should take you back to the home page. So we will want to just go through and check the settings under the WAN. These settings will be default. I make sure that it's advised to set the. Make sure you have NAT enabled as full cone. It's suggested to disable UPnP unless you need it for any reason. The other settings here is that I always customize is to set the DNS domain queries upstream forwarding to no, enabling rebind protection to yes, DNSSEC support I set to no, prevent auto DOH to yes, and I set DNS over TLS dot to enabled, with DNS over TLS profile to strict. You can then select from the preset servers any of your desired DNS servers. So we're using the DNS Clean Web servers here. So if, for instance, we wanted to use, say, Google's servers, we just click them in and add them, and then we can remove servers as we want. The settings under the account details should all be defaults, that you shouldn't need to make any changes here. Once you've done that, just click on apply, and then going back, you should see your internet status should be showing as connected at the top here, and that's it. And then also it's worth going through and double checking your Wi-Fi. Make sure that that's all set up correctly as you'd want. I'm not going to go through the details of that. I hope you find this interesting, and if you do, please send me a like and subscribe, and I will be making more content. Thank you.